Hey friends, just wanted to show you a property that Tiffany and I were looking at buying with zero of our money. And I'm going to show you how we penciled it out. So we're under contract on this property. We're supposed to close towards the end of July after we get back from Alaska. Going to be kind of a fall flip. We're estimating 4 months. So we have value. ARV is actual retail value or after rehab value, some people call it. We're holding this thing for 4 months is the goal. We're looking to purchase it. Now we're under contract at 260. The seller had told me there wasn't very much rehab, and then our inspection showed quite a bit of rehab. So I back into these numbers of 230, and I'm going to show you how. So closing costs. Anytime you buy a property, there's going to be costs associated with it. We put in 1.5%. Those are some closing costs, title insurance, things like that. So the two numbers, the 230 plus 3450. So we have a rehab of 60,000, and that's going to be a pretty good estimate on that. So hard money. So hard money is going to give us 90% of our purchase price. Okay, plus rehab. Okay, so I have 90% of my 230 is going to be 207 plus this rehab of 267. Okay, so that means I have a gap of 10% because remember we're only getting 90% from our hard money. So the gap is 10%. I also need to find out. So this is money that's going to come from a private money partner or a private money lender, and I need to find out how much money I need to get from my private money lender to cover all the costs. Because remember, we're trying to do this with none of our money. So we want to cover this gap and all the other fees associated with it. Okay. So here's a payment to hard money. So basically, the payment to the hard money is $2,503. Okay. Now remember, we wanted to hold it for 4 months. Okay. So we have 4 months of payments, which would be $10,000. Hard money lenders always charge points. They range from 1% to 2%, sometimes even more. But I have 2% on this one, which is 2% of the amount finance that the hard money is going to give you. All right, so that's $5,340. Property taxes, I pulled the taxes. It's $2,200, so we divided that by 12 and then times it by 4 because we are going to be holding this thing for 4 months. Insurance, they charge me annually. I get reimbursed when I sell the property and cancel the insurance, but this is an upfront cost. So I wanted to put it in there. Utilities, so I have $100 a month. We're not going to be using a lot of the electric and stuff in the house, so it's going to be minimal. So again, times 4. So then I add up all these 18,000. These are going to be these numbers here. Okay. So that's going to give me my 18,000. Now I want to add that 18,000 to my 26,000, right? To get my 45,000. So that's going to be the money that I need to get from my private money partners. Now, when I come down to selling the property, I have some staging, some photos, some marketing, how we got to get the property sold. Closing costs, this is a guesstimate, where we're going to have to pay some closing costs or seller concessions. We put in there 1%. We shoot for 0, but I got to budget a little bit more. Hopefully that doesn't go over that. My payment to my private money, remember, we're paying 12%, right? And so it's actually more than 12%, and I'll show you why. So we got the 45,000, 12% of that's 5428. Okay, but remember, this is annualized at 12% right here, and we're not using annualized. We're doing 4 months, right? So there's only so you can times that by 3. So if we were to did 6 months, it'd be 24%. And if we only did 4 months, which is what we're shooting for, it's actually 36% money on our lender. So 36% on their money, which is pretty freaking amazing. We still got to sell the property, so I have $11,500 to the listing agent and the buyer's agent. So I have a total breakdown of this. We making 36,000, and so I backed into that number 230 because I need to make 35 grand. That's just, it doesn't make sense for us to do it anything less. So if I was to change this number to let's just call it 260, like we're under contract on. Let's take a look. Okay. We make $3,500. Now, Tiffany is the listing agent, so ideally she gets that and we can make 15 grand. But there's too much risk involved for that number, right? So I want to make sure that we're getting in that 35 range. So that's why I backed into the number of 230. Now, there's another way that we can do this if we keep the mortgage in place. We call this novation, right? So we have the same sales price, balance on his current loan. We have a couple options. So I gave him a 240, a 245, and 250 option. Rehab, 60 grand, same. Here's my realtor fees. They're the same as what it was, except my holding cost only 4,400 versus my holding cost here is 18,000, right? So I can give him a little bit more money. Closing costs, this is seller concessions, the same as last time. How much money we're going to give the seller eventually. Seller up front, so we would give the seller 35, 40 grand depending on what works best for him. And then I have a private money fee. So my private money fee is higher, right? Because my private money in this scenario is paying for the 60 grand and they're also paying for the seller up front. Okay. And so depending on what that number is, my fee is going to be higher. But again, you're looking at 3 to 4 months. So you're still looking in the 30% range. Profit to us or to our company. And then if Tiffany was to list the property, where we'd make. So this is how we're doing it with none of our money. And if anyone wants to talk about it, let me know. We'd be happy to discuss how we're doing it and what kind of partnership that you might be open to. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.